y'all, good morning. This is Layne, the Gem State Angler. So we are starting our Jet Boat 101 series. And so we are right now here at the ramp. This is going to be a very basic video. So if you haven't or have owned a type of jet boat before, it's not going to be a very exciting video for you. This is not going to be running seams. This is not going to be doing stuff that you shouldn't be or should be doing with your jet boats once you get a handle on it. This is going to be what I would suggest and what you should do for square one. So we're gonna get the boat in the water here, and then we'll start driving along. The only thing I'm really skipping in this is the break-in period, the 2 hours. Well, yeah, the 2 hours of break-in before you can actually run. I already did that on the boat, so I can just knock these videos out and crank through them and get it all worked out and everything. So make sure the boat's all running right, because you always got to check them out when they're brand new. Here we go. We're gonna get the boat in the water, and we'll see you guys here pretty soon. All right, y'all, so here's step one. Step one, get away from the dock. You want to get away so you can practice maneuvering. Now, keep in mind, you just bought a jet boat. That's what I'm assuming. Maybe you came from a prop, maybe you haven't had a boat at all, but in fact, if you hadn't had a boat at all, the learning curve would probably be a little bit easier for you compared to like me, who came from a prop. Then you're used to having the prop and the skeg down the water helping you steer the boat, and you can actually feel over time, when you switch to a jet boat, you can definitely feel it not having that skeg down there and the maneuverability difference. So maneuverability, so look where I'm at. I'm not on even a moderate river or a light. This is be a light river. And but maybe you have a small lake or something, not a lot of people out. That's where you really want to start, because you don't want any distractions, and you want to get used to how the boat maneuvers before you go put it in harm's way, which we'll do in later videos. So jet boats, slow and maneuverability, like where I'm at now, it is not as reactive. And the problem is because you don't have that skeg or that rudder, like right now I'm turning. When I come to crank back, it's going to want to correct differently than where if you had a prop or anything else. The natural reaction to people when they're going to a dock or they're steering or they need to correct is to pull the throttle back. Well, that's the worst thing you can do in a jet boat. You actually want to kick the throttle forward to be able to steer faster or maneuver something, because you're not you don't have a rudder, you don't have a skeg, you don't have a prop down in there. You need something to steer with a jet that's thrust. So the biggest thing I can advise to you guys is get out on the water and then just take it slow. Get into a slow body of water where you can go idle around, get used to how the boat feels at idle, and then you can take it up and then drive it. The good news is like I already did break in, but if you're wanting to break in the boat, or when you go to break in the boat, you'll have a lot of idle time. You'll have about 2 hours. Well, you have an hour of dead idle, and then you can speed it up a little bit. But that hour, you can just play around with it, steer, go around buoys. You know, maybe find an island somewhere on the body of water at, and go different ways around the island, and just that way you kind of just feel how the boat reacts. I don't generally recommend you play around the dock first thing, because that's going to equal a lot of dock crash usually. So it's better to get away from that, get away from those distractions, and go find a safe place out in the water to idle your boat. Let's flip you around here. We're going to go upriver here a little bit, and just so you can kind of see how it planes out and gets on plane. I'll flip you around now so you can see how I'm driving, but these specific jet hulls, this brand in particular, right, get up on planes super fast, which is really important when you're out. You actually do brave that shallow body of water, and again, we'll demonstrate that in a later video that I have coming up. But get up on planes super fast, and what that is, because a lot of times you're in like an actual river, you're using hulls to get up and down, and you need to get up. And boat I'm in right now, compared to my old 20, way quicker to get on plane. And that's something you want to think about when you're purchasing a jet boat. Okay, You know, what river am I running, how am I running? And that's why you really want to talk to somebody that sells and that knows the rivers that they're around that you'll be running. Or have a friend that's doing it too that can talk you into it. But this boat right here is like the go-kart of River World. It is amazing. So, and we'll do a walk-around video later on it. So let's go ahead and flip you around, and then we'll head up river here a little bit, give you a little bit of a ride, and then we'll talk about steering at speed and stuff like that, and kind of some dynamics of the jet boat and what you can do with it. All right, so I'm going to take a little time here at my fishing spot. This isn't a fishing video, so I'm not going to cut it in. But yeah, came up the river here again. It's a nice slow river. I mean, the current is ripping right now, which is pretty cool. But the next video is going to be probably anatomy. I'm going to show you kind of about the jet pump and stuff. So if you're not familiar, kind of show you all that stuff, because that's like the biggest confusion for everybody. They're nervous about servicing and everything like that. And it's really, really easy, guys. This is very utilitarian that are on these jet boats, and we'll kind of go over the pros and cons. But I'm going to cast a line here for a minute, and then we're going to get back in the boat, and we're going to go do some maneuvering around some islands and stuff and talk more about that. Just give you guys a kind of a feel for the boat, and yeah, it's be pretty cool. So stay tuned. All right, y'all. Now that I put some fish in the boat, back to jet boat 101. I said this is a simple video. This is the first time you take it out. This is gonna be easy. I said you just idle around, get a feel for it, get a feel for the throttle, how it works. One thing you're gonna notice is the jet boat is much, much louder than a traditional prop, and that's just because your exhaust is coming straight out the tube, which is above the water line when you're actually on plane. So, but there's a lot of things you can do with the jet boat maneuverability-wise, as long as you stay on the throttle. Yeah, it's gonna track good. You cut the throttle, it's gonna, I can turn all the way left right now, I'm still gonna be going right. So always apply a little bit of throttle to initiate your turn, especially if you need to make a quick maneuver. Make sure this stuff's tight. How about we do an on-plane spin? Since you have no prop or anything, I'll show you what that looks like. I'll do it in both directions. Probably have to stand up for it, so just watch the water line behind me, but yeah, let's do it. There you go, that's a spin. So let's show you what it looks like from the front. And that will never get old. Okay, so those two spins, really fun when you do it on purpose, not so fun when you do it on accident, especially if you're in a narrow channel or something like that. That's how you end up wrecking your boat. So hopefully, let me get this mic better position so you can hear me with the throttle, hopefully. When you're steering a jet boat, small movements make big decisions when you are on the river. So get up on plane here. Hopefully you can still hear me. Point this down to my hands. A little bit more. See if I can get you to see the steering wheel. There it is. Okay. Get up on plane. So since I'm not shooting two cameras, it's gonna be a little difficult to tell. But like that was a left turn right there. This is left. This is right. Left. Right. And what you're gonna feel as you start to go into your turn, you're gonna feel the back of the boat start to break free, and that's when you're gonna start counteracting and steer the other direction, or at least bring the back to straight, depending on how far in pitch you are. If I go into a sharp turn here, I need to cut it about right there, otherwise I'm gonna break away and spin. So here we go, I'm putting it into a spin, and we spun. Now granted at low speed, a little more controllable, but if I was going full tilt through a shallow area, I would have broken to a spin and landed right on those rocks. Go again, start to spin, break it out, there we go. So you can turn really sharply and get it to cut back and scoot and keep the back up out of the water. Real sharp, start to spin, break it back. There we go, okay, bring it over, start to break, bring it back. You apply a little throttle. One thing I always like to do too is leave myself, especially on a tight river, in those narrow gaps, I like to give myself a little bit of throttle room. I don't try to go through unless it's super shallow and I need the buoyancy of being that high on plane. I always try to leave myself a little bit of room to where if I start to break, I can apply a little throttle and bring it back. So that's a little bit about the steering there. We'll cover, in the next video, we will cover well, in one of the next group of videos, I'm going to try and get my hand in the wind here. In one of the next group of videos, we're going to try to recover anatomy of the jet boat, or of the jet pump, of the outboard itself, how it's set up. Then we'll cover, docking, putting them on the trailer, taking it off the trailer. Not much different, but just to go over all the basics. Then we're going to go up to a different river. Well, actually, it's the same river, but way up higher in the river chain, where it's actually more free flowing. It's still a tailwater, but it flows like a normal river. We got rocks, small channels, gravel bars, things like that. There I'll get you some aerial shots, and actually have a camera guy to kind of show it, because I'll go through some really, really shallow, slivery stuff. That'll be later down the road, just to kind of go over all that too. So I hope this helps you new jet boat buyers. That's really who it's for. If you like these videos, please make sure just to like and subscribe. And follow me on here. We'll release some videos here too soon, but in conjunction with these Jet Boat 101 videos. So I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks. Bye.